This video provides an overview of internationalization support provided by the JDistil framework. For detailed information on the JDistil framework and other supporting demos, please refer to the JDistil.com website. So we'll start by just logging into the JDistil demo application. I'm just logging as an admin. So here we have all our functions. So here we're using the default locale, which is the NUS. And if we go look at the demo application, we can see that for actions that correlate to buttons and menu items and fields which correlate to labels, the default values are specified within the configurations themselves. So if we look at customer, the customer configuration, just to provide an example, say field. So in this case, our customer, let's go through customer state filter, right, is state. So if we go to look at, that's that value, right? So the default values are part of the configuration. So nothing specified in the UI that referenced it. Nothing in the UI is specifying a value for a field or a label or an action-based component. It's all inherently defined as part of the configuration for each application fragment. So let's just take a look at, for instance, the customers page. So if we go down so that we get to fields, right, here's our group. We'll find the same field. So here's our label for that state field. And see, we're just specifying the field ID. So the configuration defines the actual value to be displayed. Same for, so if we look at like a link here for deleting customer, right? It's the action ID. We don't specify delete as the text to be associated with that link, right? So the components, all the UI components associated with the framework will leverage the configuration to figure out what display value to use. Okay, so now let's look at how we provide support for other locales to support internationalization. So if we look at the core properties file, we have 4 types of resources. We have a description resource, a message resource, an operator resource, and a formatter resource. So if we look at these, for message resource, this is the standard messages that are included in the framework, right? So what we've done here is we've created an i18 package, i18n package, and we've defined 4 resources that correlate to the values, to these properties within our core framework property file, right? So what we specified is the base class name for each of these in the correct package, right? And then what we actually find in that package are locale specific versions of those classes, right? So it's description resource, but it's got a Spanish and an ES locale for description, for format, for message, for operator, right? So if we were going to support multiple locales, we would create, say we're going to support France or French, we would actually create 4 identical classes. The only difference would be the suffix here would be FR versus ES, and then obviously the content of those would be different. So in the case of, say, message resource, for our predefined messages, we've provided Spanish translations, right? Since this is a Spanish locale resource, right? Same thing for operator resource, where we have fixed operators, right? And then for formats, this is where we can specify locale-specific date, time, numeric formats. Now these need to be locale. They need to be specified in a locale-specific format because we apply these as a locale-specific pattern to the classes we use for formatting dates, times, and currencies or numbers. So the last of these resources is description, right? So this is kind of this is where we get into the custom values for the application. However, we're going to go to the bottom of this. We're going to see that there's specific values associated with just the application that's created using the Eclipse plugin. So mainly the default menus for admin and data, hide filter, show filter, things like that. And then we have values that are specific to the codes module, values that are specific to the security modules, because those are truly applications, if you will, that are built upon the framework as well. So if we go back to the top, this is where we've translated all of the unique string values within our application to Spanish equivalents. Right? So again, to configure this, we specify base class names, description resource, message resource, operator resource, format resource, in whatever package we've chosen to define them. We can actually specify multiple, but this will support common delimited values and they get consolidated into a single reference. But in our case, we have single class references, and then here within that package, using that same name, we provide locale-specific versions of those classes, right? And that's all we have to do to support a given locale. So now let's see how that functions within the demo application. So if we were to go change our language preferences, so here we're going to add Spanish. So add that, move that to the top. Okay, so we're done. So let's go back to our application. So we don't technically have to log out. We'll just go and we'll refresh customers. Now we see all our information has been translated. Right? So our headers, our labels, even the code lookup values, right? Since those are reference values, we've chosen to translate those as well, right? Contains, begins with, ends, pagination. Now obviously the data is not translated. It's only the descriptive elements that make up the UI, right? So if we go, we look at, here's our orders, right? Theme filter, pagination, details. So everything's been translated, even administratively, right? If we go and we look at roles, right? Again, these are our selected values. We didn't translate these. I guess we should include the custom elements, but we didn't. We include the modules, right? The codes module and the security and roles modules. But we can add these in to have those supported as well. Codes. So that gives you an idea. Let's go back and change it back. Let's go back to settings. Let's get rid of Spanish. This is an easy way to test it. Obviously, if you had Spanish version of the browser, that was your default language, then you would get the Spanish version by default, right? So let's go back. And here we are back at the English version. So very simple, right? Flipping back to the application. Again, just to recap, we create locale-specific versions of these 4 resources, provide the translations, and then specify the base package and class name in these 4 properties. And that's it, right? And then again, we do that for every locale we want to support, right? We specify these 4. That's all we have to specify. We create, locale-specific versions of these 4 for any other language we want to support. Okay, so for additional information on the JDistil framework, please refer to the JDistil.com website. Thank you.